Hi everyone, welcome to our second video on today's catalog launch party day. So if you're just tuning in, we had a video this morning at noon, well this afternoon technically, where I just briefly touched on some of our new in colors. I gave you an overview of the day, and today I want to continue with a couple fun projects for you. So I do have one more video that I'm going to do today at 5, so you're welcome to tune in for that one as well. And there will be some more projects. If you're new to what's going on here, just go to my Facebook page, Lauren Scraplot, and find post number 1. It's called post 1, and then follow through the page to find all the different posts with details on ordering specials, new product, prizes, events that I have going on. Okay, so speaking of events, I wanted to highlight one of my favorite events. So that is my all-day retreat. I do one of these every time we have a new catalog and with the Christmas catalog. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to meet in person right now, but that's okay. We've figured out a way to have a lot of fun virtually, and I'm excited to announce that I have a June 19th date picked out for our next event. Okay, so if you want details for how to sign up and take a part in that, you can go to the link that I've posted in the comments on this video, or on my page, find the Pansies and Trees all-day retreat, or message me if you're completely lost. That's okay too. I can ship out kits anywhere in Canada because we're all online, so everything will be easy to do from afar. And it's kind of nice because those of you who are not in Edmonton can still join me. So the reason these two stamps here are in front of me is that these are the two stamps I will be highlighting at my event. So I have 2 registration options, I guess 3 technically, registrations options for you. One is to receive the Pansy Patch stamp in your registration package, and you can add on the dies for an additional cost. The second is to receive the Beauty of Friendship. Again, you can add on the dies for additional cost. Or there's an I Want It All, where you get both of these stamp sets in your registration. It does not matter which registration option you pick. You will all be doing the same projects. So I will have all of the projects cut and prepped for you. The things that you need your stamps for, I try to work with just the sentiments and stuff. You're not going to get stuck working on a project and need to stamp a flower and not own that set. I will be cutting flowers out of the DSP and stuff for your kits instead. So the reason that you need a stamp set is to have sentiments, but you will soon see that some of the projects are very, very stamp specific, so you may end up wishing that you had purchased the other one, and I always have the option for you to grab it at the class too. Okay, so you make the same projects as everyone, not depending on which set you get. This is just the whatever appeals to you is the one that you know you get to keep. Okay, so let's start featuring Pansy Patch. Okay, so this guy is a gorgeous set with lots of layering flowers, lots of nice sentiments. There's adorable dies, and there's dies that coordinate not only with these stamps, but with the designer series paper that complements the set. So I wanted to show you a very simple card that you can do using some of the dies from this set. So the first card I'm showing you is not even with any stamping at all. It is simply one that I have used the in colors that we've been enjoying today. And we've just made some really fun, simple cards. There we go. Thank you for focusing. So I did one in each of the 5 new in colors, and you can easily do the same with any color that you like in your life. Okay, so this was a set of cards that I also treated my Stamping Up team to at our meeting this month. They got to do one of the cards, and I want to show you how to do that. Okay, so my little kit here. Oh, I'll see if I have a different color. That one's, nope, I don't. Okay, this color is a little hard to see, but it's beautiful. So this is my Evening Evergreen, and I love it. Okay, so our card base is using basic white. So I've cut a base at 4 1/4 by 11, and I've put a score mark at the 5.5 inch mark. And we're just going to fold this and set it aside. Now I need a layering piece, and this one is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. If you want, you can add a little texture to it by rolling it through your embossing folder with the Subtle Textures embossing folder. So if I put that up to the camera, you can barely see some lines in there, but that's what I wanted. I wanted something subtle that would just break up the difference between my back white and this layered white. So these two I'm going to just attach together with a flat adhesive, and you'll see why, because I'm attaching other things together with normal adhesive or dimensionals later. Okay, so we're just going to use some tape or seal for that, whatever you have on hand. And we're layering these two pieces together. Now decorating is where we get a little bit more fun. I really like that I can show you guys the catalogs now. It's so much easier to flip to pages that you need to see. Okay, so I want to show you these dies in the catalog because they are adorable. So here we go. This die set here is very easy to miss because it doesn't have a lot to do with the stamp set that it's coordinated with. It really only cuts out 2 flowers from that entire set, but this die set is amazing. It is called the Scalloped Contour Dies, and if you want to see it, it's on page 158 in the catalog. These are adorable. They've got so many different size frames that are all stitched and scalloped on the edges, and they just make really, really beautiful pieces for my cards. So I used the 3rd largest one. If you're looking at the set, large, 2nd largest, 3rd largest for this project. Okay, so I just cut that through on my machine, and I've got a great little die. Now it does not come punched out with these pansy pieces. I just like to save paper, and because I was covering the middle of this over, I decided to grab my pansy dies and cut out pieces that I needed from the center of this scrap, because then it's not going to waste. Okay, so because I wanted a couple different things overlapping here, I ended up using the same color, so Evening Evergreen, for my layering piece here, and I did forget to measure that one. So this one is 2.5 by 3 3/4, and I embossed it with the Brick and Mortar 3D embossing folder. I had a little theme going with the cards that we did earlier today. The slimline card had a brick and mortar background. I just thought it looked really, really nice together. Okay, so these two we're going to attach together with plain adhesive, something flat, so tape, seal, whatever you've got on hand. Glue works too. My other dilemma, and those of you who are demonstrators will attest to this, we are allowed 2 packages of each color of cardstock when we do our pre-orders. And that might seem like a lot, but when you are making tons of kits, I think I made 150 kits for today, which I only gave out slips of paper, but I couldn't really afford to give out more because I made 150 catalog launch party kits. I made 30 team member kits. I did bingo kits for my attendees. So I pretty much have scraps left from each of those 2 kits by the time I'm done this venture. So I need to use every scrap I can. Okay, this guy is ready to go. We're going to put dimensionals on him though. We want him nice and popped up on our card like so. Okay, so he is going to go right in the middle of our card. Right here. And then we're all ready, I'll put this here so you can see it, to build a pansy. Okay, so this pansy, there's no stamping on it. You can do pansies that have stamping, and I'll show you one of those in a minute. But these are all pieces to just build a nice paper one. The easiest way to attach pieces is going to be your liquid glue. Okay, so first I'm finding this large piece that kind of just looks like elephant ears, I guess. And then this coordinating nice green piece. I'm just putting a couple dots of glue around the edges. That's all you need to attach it. You don't need to do every square inch. Okay, but let's put that on top. That's why I said a different color would have stood out more for you. Maybe I'll work on an envelope so you can see. There you go. So put that together like so, and just let it dry for a couple seconds. That's good because you have 2 of these separate pieces now that you wanted to cut out. So these are just nice big petals. And I've cut out 2 of these ridge looking ones that are just going to rest on the top. Again, let that glue dry. Okay, and then on your big piece, we've also cut out this tiny little middle piece. That is going to be the center of the pansy, or one of the centers. That just goes right in that empty space. And then I think I lost my little black piece hiding. I'll steal this one. There's a little black dot that you can cut out from your dies in order to avoid the frustration of losing said piece, this little piece. Grab the black matted dots, the embellishments. They are so easy to use. They fit right in that centerpiece, and then you do not need to worry about cutting out a teeny tiny little black dot and keeping track of it. Okay, but I did, so that's there for now. All right, so I have these pieces and I'm happy. They should have dried kind of by now. What I'm going to do to attach them is just take a little glue dot on the top, the front part of each of my petals. Okay, so you can see that. There you go. Okay, so put it on the bottom, put it on the front side, because we're just going to take this big piece, just slip this into the back. Okay, it will nicely slide in behind there, and then those glue dots will attach and hold this guy in place. Okay, I'm going to put this on my card now, and you can either put dimensionals on the back of your pansy or you can put them directly on your card. Sometimes I like to put it on the card because then I know that I'm attaching them onto my green base. If you attached it off to the side and you had your flower hanging over, you might end up attaching a dimensional and tipping your card sideways. So I'm just gonna attach it like this. Okay, so nice and quick. Once you rattle out a bunch of those guys, it'll be pretty easy for you to make just a gorgeous set of cards in all different colors. So this one, like I mentioned, had no stamping. However, you could definitely take any of these sentiments and stamp on the inside of your card. Or if you didn't emboss, you could probably add something right beside the flower, or if you move this up, you could put a sentiment in the bottom too. But I thought this was a great set for you just to see the in colors in action once more and to see how simple the dies are just to assemble all your pieces. Okay, so we're going to move on and do a little bit of pansy stamping here. Okay, so for my next project, I'm just going to show you the 3 that I did. And we're actually not going to build a card together. We're going to, I will be showing you this exact same card using the Beauty of Friendship bundle. Okay, so these are all flipping sideways because as you can see, they're meant to just stand up on your desks like so and look beautiful as a focal point, but they have a mind of their own once you start putting them on the ground. Okay, so this is a really, really fun fold of a card. Okay, if you are part of my monthly club group, I sent you this card in your kit. You will be assembling it the exact same way as I'm going to show you the Beauty of Friendship card, okay? So you'll easily be able to see where the papers go. Your only difference will be that you have a pansy in the center as opposed to this tree and bird, okay? So here's my little cheat sheet for you. If you own this stamp set, here's how to build a pansy. First, you're going to stamp with the solid pansy color. I used fresh freesia. Your second job is to add some dimension to that image. So your choices are either to use the exact same ink again, which is what I did, and it simply darkened some of the flower spots, or you can use something completely different and add a different shading to it. But I thought using the same ink gave me that purple background that I was looking for, and it just gave a highlighted area where I wanted some of those shadow images. Okay, then you need to add a little flower center. So fresh freesia was this color. For this one I used So Saffron, and that is just adding one of these little flower centers. Then we're going to stamp the stamens in there. So those are these guys over on the side. And then there's a little dot here that you can stamp that black part in, or you can grab the black matted dots that I mentioned and give your flower a little dimension. Okay, the leaves are pretty simple. There's just kind of a couple things you need to do. First is stamp in the solid image. So I used the soft succulents. And then I stamped on top with the evening evergreen with the little vein stamp here. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that up so those of you who like to screenshot things can. And I'll take a picture of this and post it later as well. But it's just a really nice cheat sheet for you to remind yourself the order of stamping that you need to do. Okay, so I'm not going to stamp all that. I just wanted to show you these ones. So I used just some of the Pansy DSP, and I cut out my pansies and made myself a little card. Let me show you how to make this card using the Beauty of Friendship stamp. Okay, so I'm going to get that out of my way. Here we go. So this guy here. Need all my pieces. Okay, got him. So this guy, you can see the exact same idea. I haven't changed any measurement. I'm even using the same frames and tags, so I will give you all of those measurements. The only thing I've done differently is I put a pansy on the other cards and I've put the tree on these ones. Okay, so don't stress. Pictures will be up and you can easily make either card, or if you have the pieces for the pansy one, you can make those. All right, let's do this. Sorry, my throat's dry. Should have water. So for my card base, I used Mossy Meadow. I have cut this paper at 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm putting numerous score marks. 2, 4, 6, 8. So you should end up with 4 equal portions and 1 little extra flappy, okay? Now on all of these score lines, we're going to make a nice crisp fold. Fold those all the same way. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But by the end of it, they should be able to fold into a nice square. Okay? So it doesn't work if you folded one the opposite way. Just make sure they're all folded the same way and they will make a beautiful square for you. Okay? So you can go ahead and start attaching the pieces here. So on this really thin strip to the left-hand side, we're going to put some adhesive. So whether that is seal or tape, it's totally up to you. But put that all the way down. Okay. Now, the easiest way to attach this is to fold this piece into the center so your adhesive is sticking up, and then you just gently fold the next piece all the way down. You're welcome to sit here and try to stand your square up and attach it. You can also just lay this corner down and fold your card in half. But we really want a nice even line, so my suggestion is to have this one panel folded. You've got your adhesive in the middle here, and fold the second piece over. Okay, like so. Now this is probably the ugliest line you have on your card. So I want you to now flip this over and make sure this is hidden in the back. We're going to make this the back of our card and decorate the front of it with our nice focal paper and signs. Okay? So on the front of your card, you're going to grab, you will end up cutting 4 of these, so do it at the same time. So these are Old Olive. I have cut them at 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So you need 2 of them for the front, 2 of them for the back. And you can attach those with any sort of adhesive. Okay? I guess while you're cutting, you might as well go ahead and do these 2. Then we'll attach everything. So on the back, we've got 2 pieces of white, because I thought it'd be nice to be able to write a couple little notes on there. And then on the front, we have 2 pieces of the Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. All 4 are measuring the same. So we have 1.5 by 5 inches. Okay, so 2 DSPs, 2 whites. And you can start attaching everything together. Just use quick flat adhesive for these, because your focus is going to be on the tag. Okay? So you can even move that out of your way and maybe just layer all of these up. I had to cry a little bit deciding which papers to use because the back sides of all of them were pretty too. I always find it easy when there's one paper that I don't love the opposite side. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. I can use that. all the time, but this was a really nice sky look on the back of these ones. But I wanted to use it, so I did. Turn those over and attach these to your card. I actually have no idea what this card fold is called. It has quite a few different names if you were to search it, but I fell in love with it years and years ago, so I kind of bring it back every once in a while. And I love how sturdy the cards are. Sometimes the wind can just knock cards over that are sitting on your shelf, and these ones they've got a nice stance. They don't move very easily. Okay, so there's my 2 pieces for the front of my card. I wanted to get that done because that reminds me that, okay, this is my back panel. Here's that weird line. Whatever I'm doing has to just keep that in the back. Right. There's always certain stamps and dies that just jump out at me, and I know I want to play with them. And that was the same, or that was the situation with the pansies, but it was actually the paper from this set that made me want to focus half of my retreat around this one, just because it was so stunning and so diverse. There's seasonal sheets from spring and summer and fall and winter. So I thought there'd be a nice array of potential in there for my projects. There we go. Here. Perfect. So there is my card base. And it's nice because you could really just sit here and fold it all over the place. You're not going to break it. It'll fit in your envelope when you flatten it. And if you accidentally turned it sideways, that's okay too. But let's get this tag built, okay? So those dies that I mentioned I was falling in love with earlier, the scalloped contour dies, this one is from that set as well. So it's the second smallest one if you're looking in the dies. And then what I wanted was a little tag to fit inside the frame. So I just cut a piece of basic white. This is 1 3/8 by 2 5/8. Okay, so when I did that for the pansy set, this was the sentiment that I stamped straight onto it, but I decided for this one I'm going to actually fussy cut my sentiment and show you a little something different. So my pansy's popping out on this guy and I stamped a sentiment. This one I'm just going to attach straight to the tag and we're not stamping on it at all. Perfect. So we're going to keep building the rest of our tag while this is on the table. I'll bring back this envelope, so hopefully you have a little bit of contrast. I get to move up to my craft room soon. We're on the home stretch here. Okay, so what I have done here I have cut myself out a little tree using this little skinny tree die. That's just on early espresso paper. For my leaves, I did stamp. So I did the 2-step stamping, kind of like we've done with the posy. So I did my most concentrated stamp first, and that one I used garden green. And then right over top of it, just to add a little bit of, I guess, contrast, I used Mossy Meadow with this lighter version so that it gives me a couple different tones hiding in there. If you can see that, which is kind of very similar to a nice tree outside. And then there is a great little die that cuts around that whole perimeter. And there's the birdies. That's how I got the red bird in there too. Okay, so I've cut that out already for you. You don't have to watch me. I'm going to just put a couple dimensionals on my branches like this and stick my treetop right over top here. I also thought this one would make a really cute bush. If you needed like some bushes to line the bottom of a card, it would work. So here's my red birdie that I mentioned I had. I just cut that out with real red cardstock. You do cut out 2 birds at the same time, but I just wanted one. Okay, and then I'm going to put these on our tags. So your choice, you can either put this flat or you can put dimensionals behind it and pop it out. So that one I did flat. I think this one I'm going to try to give a little bit of life to, and just put a couple dimensionals, see what that looks like. Bring it off the page a bit more. Okay, here we go. So now for my sentiment. I didn't want, I guess if you don't want a fussy cut, you'll use this little hello sentiment right here, and then you don't need to fussy cut. But I really liked this one, so I stamped it with Night of Navy on a white piece of paper, and I'm really just roughly going around the outside of this image. So I'm not trying to do anything perfect. I'm just following where some of the curves and contours of the stamp are and just rolling with it. Okay, so it does not have to be perfect, and it's not going to be. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun because I thought this was a really cute sentiment. But it's very true. Friends are very important. Okay, so I fussy cut this one very, very roughly. To attach it, I am going to put dimensionals only behind this back section, the ships and sole, because I've popped up my tree. I don't want to pop up the rest of this too. So I'm just putting 2 dimensionals hiding in the back here, and then we'll just rest it across the rest of that tag. Okay, so this is adorable, and we need to attach it to the front. If I was to attach this with dimensionals or adhesive on the front of the card, I would not be able to open my card properly. So here's a trick. You can grab any small, tiny little circles or squares, something that's about an inch, like 3/4 of an inch, an inch. These are 3/4 inch circles, but I could just as easily cut myself a 1-inch square on my trimmer, or you need 2 of them. We're going to fold them in half, both of them, and then bring back in our ever handy glue dots here. Okay, so put a glue dot on one side. Now we're not attaching to the Mossy Meadow, which is this middle section. We want to attach to the Old Olive, the light green. Okay, so roughly in the middle of my workspace, I'm going to, you see my circle is opening out. I've got this folded edge of my circle. It's getting put onto the straight edge of the light green. So let me just hold this up for you. So it's not touching the mossy and it's not touching my folded line here. It's just on the light green and it's my folded line, so my circle opens like so. We're going to do the same on the opposite side, of course, facing the circle the opposite direction. Once again, making sure it's only on the old olive. Okay, so there you go. Both of them now would open towards the middle and touch and close. Okay, put on one more glue dot onto the backs of these now. Do not attach them together. It would not work. Okay. So these two are now open. They've each got a glue dot or any sort of glue or tape. We're going to take our tag and put it over top of those half circles, so that when I pop my card open, the half circles, their fold is what's moving and it's not putting a bend in my tag. So I can press it down and it lays flat, or I could pop it up if I was accidentally folding it that way, and these are still secure. Okay, so once again, here is the one that I've made with the Beauty of the Earth suite, and then here is the equivalent Pansy. So you'll add your papers exactly the same, build your tag the same, but you've got a different focal piece. Okay, I'll leave both those for a second for you. So yes, if you want any info on my all-day retreat, let me know. I'd love to have you. I do close registrations around the beginning of June because I need lots of time to prep for this one, lots of time to order your supplies and your materials, but you have all of May to sign up for it. So that's why I gave you the heads up early. And I do have an early bird pricing option too. If you register in May as opposed to the first week in June, you save about $15, which is great. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys go, but make sure to join me back here again at 5 o'clock. I will have another project to show you and a few fun things to share with you as well. And keep watching for posts to comment on and ways that you can participate today. See you later. Bye.